Hey everybody, welcome back. So hopefully at this point in time, you sat with your manager. He's delineated what pitch you're going to be using. You have that pitch in front of you and have a basic idea of what it says. We're going to be talking about the techniques that we employ on that initial pitch, and we're actually going to use them in our rebuttals and our presentation later, all the way through our sales process, right? So we master them here so that we can employ them everywhere else. It's actually going to get you that 1 in 25 connect effectiveness on a pitch that sounds a little like a recording, right? So the starting place before we can even discuss techniques or try and train you up and tweak you and improve what you're doing is memorization. You're never going to sound natural reading from something, unless you've just been reading from scripts naturally somehow for 25 years, and then, well, good luck is all I can say to you. But for the rest of us, we're going to memorize it, just the basic words, right? Then we're going to try to pair it, the recording that you just saw, and then we're going to try and understand what that's doing and make that become second nature so that all of our conversations have a similar flow, a similar cadence, tonality, inflection, tempo, so forth and so on. The true results don't come in the first day. Real understanding, real knowledge, real comprehension is when it's second nature, when you're unconsciously competent, as Jordan Belfort says. I hope you're watching your Straight Line Persuasion. So that only comes with practice, repetition. Where's the best place to get that repetition? With the guy to your left and the guy to your right. Doesn't cost anything. You don't lose anything. You both just get better from practice. If anybody watching this has ever played sports, I guarantee you didn't walk out on that field or out on that court or onto the track without practicing first. The same is true here. Why would you expect any less? Or why would you do any less and expect more? Okay, so memorize, memorize, memorize. Once you have it, the basic, then we can start to train on the other ones. But just to give you a little primer, the main parts, and the reason we focus so much on tonality, cadence, inflection, and tempo is because we're limited just to the sound of our voice over the phone. Unlike this communication here, where it's a video call, you get to see me, I get to see you. They're not judging me on my shirt. They're not looking at my hair, the white spot on my brow. It's solely my voice, the words I use, and how I use them, right? So what should that sound like? On cadence, your cadence should be 3 to 5, 4 being the sweet spot, syllables or beats at a time. Okay, so why? Anybody? It's
your breathing. Or...
So it actually has two parts. All right, so the first part is that the average American can't really digest more than 5 syllables in a row. Okay, so you give them a half a pause, in that half second tempo that we got going to let it all sink in. All right. You also have the effect of getting a rhythm going. Okay, so, but going back to that, what they can comprehend, sometimes we're going to slow down, right? When this is moving to tempo. What should the perfect tempo be? Anybody know? Well, I just alluded to it in 2 seconds or 2 a second. So it's 120 beats per minute. All right. Any faster than that, they're not really comprehending what you're saying. Any slower than that, you're putting them to sleep. So for those of us that have been a part of 45-minute closes, right, or one call close, it's like a 45-minute transaction. There's a couple tricks, and that you really need to stay at that 120 or you're going to lose them. There's no way to keep them in the call. but it's not a consistent 120. Sometimes you're going to go a little bit faster. Sometimes you're going to slow down to emphasize. Slow down to emphasize. Speed up and smooth over the, boring parts, the useless parts, the things that don't really help us out, right? So, as far as, and that's a persuasive technique that every attorney that goes to any law school in the United States is going to be trained on. Why shouldn't you be as well? Okay. In tonality, what is tonality?
Voice inflection.
No, that's inflection. The tone of your voice, guys. So, what's the tone of my voice conveying to you right now?
You're upbeat.
Passionate sincerity.
Passionate, sincerity, happiness. What's the tone of my voice conveying right now?
Bad news.
Business.
More serious, something serious.
Serious, solemn, right? Who do people want to talk to?
Someone upbeat.
People that can make them smile.
He's gonna make them laugh.
Right. Okay.
Be the best person that they talk to all day.
My man. Give me one right there. Best person they talk to all day. Most people, hopefully unlike yourselves, don't like coming into work every day. It's not a joyous experience. They come in stressed out. They leave stressed out. They work with a bunch of people that don't really listen to them, don't really care to listen to them. They just want to check and get out. So when you call up that business owner, if you're in a good mood, maybe you're the highlight of his freaking day. If you make his day, he'll call you back just to talk to you, which is a conversation for another day. But you want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that they want to talk to. All right. So how do you do that? A saying as old as time, smile while you dial. It's the easiest way to get that happy tonality. Okay. Your tempo is going to be 120. Your cadence is 3 to 5 syllables, 5 beats, with a half-second pause. What's inflection? How's that work? Anybody know?
Well,
The way that you carry up and down your voice.
100%.
So it carries syllables and sounds.
It's the bend you give your voice. Okay, so there's 3 types. There's 2 types: inflection and then monotone. Right? So you got that kind of in the center where you're not really bending it. Nobody wants to talk to that guy. Right? As opposed to an upward inflection.
Nobody's going to take you serious. But if you continue that way.
Exactly. You can't just do one. You have to transition back and forth. That's what keeps them rocking, getting into that circadian rhythm, if you will, right? But it's also what makes the conversation not dull, keeps them in, but more importantly, an upward inflection. When thinking about this, think of a child asking their parent for something. Mom, I can get this, right? Okay. It implies agreement. Okay. Right? Another one is it implies familiarity as well. So, John, Jack, Joe, who starts a conversation off like that except for your friend? We do. So, downward inflection, conversely, implies a fact that's above rebutting, something that just is, something that should be accepted as is. No further question necessary. So what we do, and here you should think about the parent telling the child no, because I said so. Because I said so. So what we do is we package downward inflection for the underlying supporting facts that we then give an upward inflection, assumptive statement or question or conclusion to. Okay, so to right here, because of the heavy inflection in the pitch, I'm going to go ahead and do my traditional fortified. See if you can draw it out and identify where I'm going up and where I'm going down, and then see if you can find a pattern. If you're smart, I bet you will. John, Mike, 4 to 5 funding. And what I do is provide working capital to business owners just like yourself, except I don't do those traditional cash advances. You know, the ones that tend to be so expensive. What I offer, it's more a loan type product with very reasonable rates since I am a funds manager. So what I'm going to do, get you out my application, get it back to me, filled out with your 4 most recent months of merchant and bank statements. From there, I'll have you approved in just a few hours. And John, make sure those numbers definitely make sense to you. Now, what's the best way for me to get the application to you? Fax or email?
Email.
What is it?
ALIVIER@gmail.
Okay. So could you hear and feel the inflection? Up and down, up, and it gets tighter towards the end. Because it results in a couplet at the end, which is an alternative close. And because we're undulating increasingly faster towards the end, it winds the mind up to think that the next thing should be 1 beat, because we're going 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 type 2 1, but we're asking a question there. And because it's an alternative close, they spit out the answer. You know you're doing this right when the guy cusses out loud and says, "Why did I just say that?" So I hope by the end of the week you can get a dozen of those.
Took him for a ride.
you took his brain for a ride for sure. So now, was there any other communication or persuasion techniques that you noticed in that pitch that I employed?
After the short pause, the voice inflection kind of re-grabs its attention for the next statement you're about to say.
Excellent catch. Okay. When we're transitioning between sentences, most of the time, you're going to have what is called an exclamatory introductory statement in the beginning of the next sentence in your pitch. This is read into the sentence prior because it signals the listener it's not time for them to talk, and also takes us back up on that high point so that we can give facts that are above rebutting with a downward inflection. Okay, dual purpose. 1, keeps him from cutting you off. 2, gets the rhythm. Good call. Anybody else? How about speeding up, slowing down? So you may notice that those traditional cash events, you know, the ones that tend to be so expensive. So you'll notice that I have a really heavy inflection there. But if you actually, if you look at my face, I'm literally scrunching my face like it stings, it smells, it tastes sour. That sound, that scrunch, just the motion, it conveys to them in something greater than anything you can ever say that you don't like that you don't want that for them. And we don't. Our goal is to build better businesses, not put them into a hamster wheel. Take them up the ladder. Now, what about pausing for effect? Anybody see that? What about volume? Anybody see volume in there? Okay. So, one thing about volume. Do you think that when you speak loud, more people listen to you? Or if you really want someone's true attention, you take it down?
Take it down.
Both.
Depends. But as a general rule, you take it down.
No, because you want to pull it in.
Right.
You want them to like lean into you.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they do. They lean into the phone, and you'll notice after I get done taking them down, I knock their head off by going right back up. I don't know what the hell hit them. Right? So if you really want them to listen hard, take it down into a quiet place. Make it like you're telling them a secret just for them. Don't hang on every word. Did you see anything else in there that you can think of?
Your breath, I think.
How about just going back to the start of the call? The body motion. Okay, this is the one thing that I know for sure, and that science has really proven in the last 10, 15 years. Every part of our body is connected. Every single part of our body. The shit that happens in your foot can affect how your shoulder feels in certain weird situations. When you're moving your hands and moving around and trying to act as if you're trying to convey the message with just your hands and body language. So if you two don't speak the same language and you're timing that with what you're saying, those movements will have the effect of changing the sound and contour of your voice, which is significantly more captivating than you ever get sitting down, ever get with your hands in your pockets.
Kind of like Wolf of Wall Street when he's doing that for pitching.
Yeah, when he's standing up.
And he's doing all the.
He's getting excited. Now, that being said, the guys that are the best at this, they don't even have to move to do it. Okay? So they can do it sitting down in a quiet, I call him a silent killer. You're a silent killer. They can do it sitting down, they're moving, they're smiling, they're leaning forward. You see them moving around their seat, going around like that. It's so subtle that it's unnoticeable. Here, I'm exaggerating some things for effect so that you catch it. But once you have it, you actually take it down. And it's a lot more subtle if you really want to play the game right. All right. So any questions that you might have or any thoughts, considerations, ideas, please send them over. We love your feedback, and it's always going to help us improve our process. I hope you learned some things today. The main takeaway here is know your pitch, cold, pick one of those things, tempo, cadence, tonality. Don't take all five. Tempo, cadence, tonality, inflection, volume. Pick one and work on that one specific thing until it's exactly the way you want it. Then move on to the next thing. And try not to forget the thing you learned. All right. Baby steps. You know, every empire was built a brick at a time. I hope you build yours quickly. All right. Best of luck. Thank you for everything. This will conclude your first day as far as my side. The rest is all role playing. And for those of you that can come in first thing in the morning, ready to go and say it perfecto, I think you'll have a nice little sweet treat for you. Thanks again. Bye.